Right. Let's get started. We got a show. We got a show. We got a show. We're gonna get things moving. Good morning. I am your host, Dr. K. This broadcast. Let's look at this. Good to be back. Good to be back. Good to be back. We're gonna start out real quick with our. We always got to start with our code. Staying on point with our 8 points of code. 1, speak politely. 2, pay fairly for what you buy. 3, return everything you borrow. 4, pay everything you damage. 5, do not hit or swear at people. 6, do not take liberties with women. 7, do not damage property or property of poor and oppressed masses. 8, if we ever have to take captives, do not ill treat them. Mr. P, give us your rundown of the code, the extended code versions, if you have them on deck.
Yeah, absolutely. Listen, our ethical codes, brothers and sisters, are this integrity. Do what's right when people are looking, and do what's right when people are not looking. Always have integrity. Always have unity. Expect to work together. Always have objectivity. Have a vision. Have a plan for what you're going to do. And here it is, confidentiality. Man, maintain somebody else's business if they tell you something. And the last one is, brothers and sisters, personal growth. Listen, we all need to grow. We can't stay babes forever. We need to grow up politically, socially, spiritually, and personally as a man and a woman. There it is.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Loose lips sink ships.
Man, yes. So many
Yeah,
times.
yeah. Oh, definitely. Yeah. That's what I was saying. Loose lips do sink ships. Trying to get to a positive moving. It's always somebody to has a loose lip. Uh, in turn, of course, I hate to go against the code, but sometimes the ones who think to think to think the ship with loose lips, may need a fat lip.
All right now.
Um, but yeah, welcome to back to Let's Look at This. We're gonna get things rolling today. As you can see, our topic today is political, the political dating game. Here we are again. Um, always got to be pushed into a corner to where we are in this arena of bouncing back and forth of at the end the most famous cliche now that's become a cliche, Mr. P, is that the old and I'm getting sick of that one too. The less of two evils. If you evil, you evil, and there's no less as far as evil. Evil is evil. And it's going to take our people to start understanding that and getting that through that cranium, because there is no such thing as a lesser of two evils. If we say the devil is the devil, and that's who he is, bounce back and forth and say, well, that's a lesser of a devil than that devil. The devil is the devil. There's no turning the volume up and down as we turn the volume up and down on our phones, on our speakers, on our, the volume is up, it's up, it's down, it's down. So, we got to pay close attention to that. So, we're going to get it rolling. Then we're going to jump into hearing what our political candidates have to say. Because, this is like, you minister, I don't know if you think back, Minister, people remember this. This is how we're going to start out. This is our intro to this.
At clipboard help.
This is our intro here. It's reference to how we're perceived to be put in the.
Is that the dating game?
That is the dating game. Welcome to the dating game, ladies and gentlemen. And I am your host, Dr. K, and my co-host, Minister B. And we are here, and we're going to have our 3 contestants come out and introduce themselves. And our person that's going to be courted is the Black community. So, again, welcome to the dating game. Our first contestant up is.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember that so clearly.
First contestant up.
And you had the people behind the screen.
Yes. Yes. People behind the screen. So our first contestant behind the screen would be contestant number 1.
And who was contestant number 1?
Contestant number 1 would be Mr. Rybane. Gary Rybane. All right. Okay. Yes, sir.
Now, go ahead.
So we have heard from contestant number 1. Contestant number 2. Go ahead and get in your.
So were you bringing up a audio or a visual of that person or what?
Did you didn't hear the audio?
No, we didn't.
Oh, okay. My. Let me restart that. My apologies, ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, my apology. Let me share that with you guys. That's another technical error on my part. And I'll bring up a visual as well. So are you able to see and speak?
Yeah, we can see that.
All right. Here is contestant number 1, Gary Rybane.
Your church, your home,
Can you hear
your
me?
school.
Yeah, we can hear it and see it.
They stand on solid foundations. For 40 years, here in Illinois, I built rock-solid foundations. As a business builder, I can see when a foundation is on the verge of collapse. What foundation does our state of Illinois stand on? Is it solid? Will it fall? I'll tell you this, as a father, employer, business builder, and Illinois native, our state's foundation is crumbling. Our jobs are leaving. Our property taxes are the highest in America. I'm Gary Rybane, and I'm running for governor of Illinois. I'll do everything I can to save our home. We Illinoisans see it every day. Our homes, businesses, communities, stores, schools, and safety are at all-time lows. Why? Because our governor, J.B. Pritzker, has failed us. Pritzker's a California trust fund billionaire.
He gave us a minute of his looking to court us. That was a minute from that contestant. And he goes a minute from the next contestant would be Richard Irving.
Richard Baxter Irvin was born a slave, but he dreamed of being free. Eventually, he lived that dream, following it to the land of the man who made it possible. He found opportunity here as a Mason, helping build his community brick by brick. Some are still here. He built a legacy I stand on today. I don't just share the name Richard Irvin. I share his dream of what Illinois could be, where a growing economy provides ladders of opportunity for anyone willing to work, where families are safe, where kids are educated, not indoctrinated, where government guarantees our right to pursue the best life we can, free of oppressive taxes and regulations. That's not the Illinois we have today. Crime is out of control. So is corruption. Negligence and incompetence have destroyed our finances. So taxes go up.
That is contestant number 2. Last contestant person was already courting us. Contestant number 3. Mr. J.B.
A jump in cases of a deadly mystery virus.
The deadly new virus spreading around the world. How serious is this?
From the beginning, J.B. Pritzker knew we faced a serious threat.
We're ready to put the full weight of the state behind a full-fledged response. This is coming. We're going to have to live with it for a while, so let's get ahead of this thing.
In Washington, science took a backseat to politics. But in Illinois, we knew the stakes were too high.
This is not a time for politics. We have too much to do to save people's lives. I want to be 100% clear about what will drive my decision-making in the weeks ahead. Science.
Governor Pritzker remained focused on protecting the lives and livelihoods of the people of Illinois.
J.B. Pritzker unveiling a new effort to get personal protective equipment and testing kits in the hands of healthcare workers.
There's more help on the way for Illinois families struggling during the pandemic.
The governor announcing that the state will cover emergency child care for those on the front lines.
The governor announced.
Right. So hearing from those 3 would be, I see them as contestants, and other people may say they're politicians, but in seeing and hearing, it's just not going out and doing. It's to get a better understanding of what is at hand and what is at stake. As reference to you putting your all into going out to cast a vote for what was just said, because this is their introduction. This is how they're looking to court you. And then if you look around and look at the evidence, what evidence do they show as reference to courting you? We look at the first candidate, Gary Ryben, of course, billionaire. He's talking about jobs, taxes, and then crime, looking who he's looking to save. And these are questions. Who is saving? Who are you going to save? And what is the purpose of something saving? What group are you looking to save? As I look at it, especially when you start looking at, they say Black unemployment. I say Blacks are underemployed for the most part, because when we become from being employed at a place, we don't have the dividends from bigger shareholders. We're not a majority of shareholders when it comes to stocks, bonds. So we become underemployed. Most underemployed is reference to who that pertains to. A lot of people can, most other groups live off of their investments or generational wealth. We tend to have missed that boat. So just going off of those 3 candidates and hearing a minute of a snippet while they're running for governor, or even to be reelected, and we're looking at those points in terms to say, well, this is almost like a dating thing, is how they're running themselves and trying to convince us why we should be voting. Especially would be the Black gentleman, Richard Irving, who stated that there's so much crime. And then, of course, a picture paints 1,000 words. Of course, you see the advertisement that they put up, and, they pay money. They pay billions. They pay, we'll say, millions of dollars to have this stuff flashed all over the place. And so it's to be studied and understood. Where do you maneuver when somebody is offering you something? To me, is it, well, am I going to vote, or I just stay home? Because my thing is, if I don't have everybody thinking like me, what is my purpose of going out to the polls just to say I passed the vote and get a little sticker? You know, that's to me, that's acting as a child. Oh, look, everybody, I went and voted. I got a sticker. And then you get nothing out of that. So as reference to studying this process and going into that, you know, this is serious business. This is not because you're talking about livelihoods here. Well, people are these individuals who are putting themselves in the aspect of running for locally now, governor. What purpose would they be running for governor for? What is the purpose? What is the biggest purpose as reference to running for governor? What is at stake when holding these positions? We have to ask ourselves that. What is at stake in these positions when we choose to go out and put these individuals in over us? And then when you look at two of the individuals, or even all three for that matter, and we go and figure out, well, what is the backing? You know, what is their history? And of course, the first contestant, as I call him, he goes out to blast J.B. Pritzker as a billionaire. I say, well, what are you? You can't be too far behind. Last I looked at your numbers, J.B. Pritzker, the richest to have ran for governor, other than the last, which was Bruce Rauner. These both are billionaires. He's talking about how much is at stake and what is behind. If when you look at a title, and it's you look at the title on the book below our screens, right? Now we can put in there Minister P, minister, writer, songwriter, philanthropist, right? Let's stop at that word for a minute. People say, "Oh, you're a philanthropist." Oh, what does that mean? If you look at the definition of philanthropy, it's somebody who is supposed to be giving back. The question is, what are you giving back? So if I'm getting that title added to my name, now if you're just saying businessman, okay, I can see that. I'm just a businessman. Okay, in business to do what? Okay, make money. All right. So if you're making money, the thing is, what product am I purchasing? These two individuals, Mr. Gary Rabin and Mr. J.B. Pritzker, they both are quote unquote billionaires. Now, the third gentleman, Richard Irvin, he's quote unquote supposedly, is what's stated in the media, that he's being backed by Ken Griffin, is which the person who I pointed out in the past, he was kind of hit at first, but now he's resurfaced. I told him, I said, this guy's gonna surface at some point. Sure enough, he surfaced to be possibly backing Richard Irvin. I believe he had given him some millions. We'll say that. And they kind of going back and forth saying, he's saying, well, he don't know him and he didn't give him that. So, but in any case, he's going to back somebody. Now here's a gentleman who's the richest businessman in Illinois, Ken Griffin. He doesn't need to vote. Now here's an example of having dollars and cents behind you. He doesn't have to. Why? Because he has the money. He can put money behind any three of those candidates and get what he wants. Now that's key into taking that point into understanding. Say, well, if he's not voting, then what is he getting out of this? And he doesn't vote. He's getting a lot. Why? Because he's put a financial backing behind someone, and he's forcing them to do something. If they don't do it, then of course now he's going to hold them accountable. Right? That's right. We have to have all takers on this, and just to get a feedback, I'm gonna definitely get to start, and our listeners, I know it's early, and we don't have a lot of early risers, but we're gonna start getting that few in the coming weeks, and we'll have some callers to call in to give you feedback on such things, because this is a point of I need to know. Most people need to know, where do we stand in today's time? Do we play the old game, business as usual. We look out 20 or 30 years and nothing changes, because that's where we're at. I mean, we look at the things that's happening now. Here's another political arena on a federal level, dealing with this president that's in office now. You know, here they are looking to stick their nose into something that may not be their business. And where is that going to lead us? Involved in somebody else's business. And then you just read one of the ethical codes and speak.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe it was something closer to mining your. One, we need to maybe add that if we'll say this amongst us, if Black people had the position to mine some of their own business, we might have more businesses in the marketplace. But we tend to be mining somebody else's business on a personal level instead of on a actual business level. What's your thoughts on that, Minister? What's your thoughts?
Well, listen, let me first of all say good morning to all of our brothers and sisters, all of our listeners and our viewers and our comrades in the struggle, because we know this is a struggle. I'm mindful of this story in the Bible where little David, he was a little soldier boy, he was a shepherd boy, and he was going against the Goliath. And so they told him, look, you're too little, you're too small, sit down. He said, wait a minute, is there not a cause? Is there not a cause? You aren't doing it, so now I'm joining the cause, and I'm fixing to handle this business. And so that's what we're saying today, brothers and sisters, our viewers and our friends. Is there not a cause? The answer is yes, there is a cause. There's a cause now for all of us to unite and pull into each other's strength so we can overcome this Goliath that we are facing. Dr. K, you said it earlier, Blacks are underemployed, Blacks are unemployed, and here's another one. Blacks are underpaid because you can get the same degree and get less money, and that doesn't make any sense. So we're all in this fight, in this battle. One of the things that I was doing some research on, and there's another candidate out there, Dr. K, his name is Jesse Sullivan. If maybe you can pull him up. Yep. Yeah. So what I want to focus on are these three candidates: Richard Irving, Jesse Sullivan, and Jay Pritzker. Let's go with Richard Sullivan. Dr. K, he has now received a 20 million donation from Ken.
He did get the donation from Mr. Ken Griffin.
He got the donation.
So see how now let's pause there right there real quick and see. Now we revert back to here's a guy, here's a gentleman now, Mr. Griffin, who can bounce around. He's not in a voting booth saying, well, he sound now he's going based off of sounding good to his ears based on what? Business. He's going to put his money behind who's going to do the business for him.
Right. Absolutely.
Not based on how good he sounds. Yeah, it sounded good for what you told me you were going to do. All right. Now with them, they handshake, and he say, "Oh, sure, I'll donate $1 million, but I need you to do X, Y, and Z when you get in the office." Now, where's our stipulations as a community? It ain't all about having a Black face in high places now, because if we look at our this one, the other candidate, Mr. Irving, and his if I was to go, I'm gonna just say this and I'll let you continue. If I was just to go off his advertisement, and as a thinking person, I would be questioning that advertisement in the first place, because it sounds all wrong. This is how it starts: a slave. Okay. That was probably your great-great-grandfather. And then you start into, and if you really pay attention and go through, I challenge our people to go and study that advertisement. I'm saying we want to be against this brother, but he's not seeing the bigger picture. So he made one statement that I caught in his advertisement saying, well, we need to get rid of the housing, the apartment complex. I said, most people can't afford to be living in a house. So how you gonna get rid of apartment complex? You see the wording. That's why I say words are important. We need to pay attention to details versus what this person is saying.
And who does that wording come from? What system? It's a system to systematically eradicate affordable housing. So that's what that's from. But here it is with Richard Irving. He's the mayor of Aurora, and he just received a $20 million donation from Ken Griffin. He already had amused $12 million from high-ranked businessmen and white Republicans. So he has a heavy chest there, fund. But here's the thing with him. He is running an ad. There's a second ad that he is running, and this is the one that is running right now, Dr. K. And so it's this. He was the mayor of Aurora, and he has a TV ad portraying himself as the law and order candidate.
Well, that's the same ad.
Who
That's the same.
Who shut down the riots amid the 2020 civil unrest in the streets of Aurora. And here it is. He claimed he called in the National Guards. Okay, that's a lie because a mayor cannot call in the National Guards. Only a governor can call in the National Guard. So here he is predicating all of that on a lie. And then he's saying, but I'm doing this to save our streets. Now, here's the optics, brothers and sisters, viewers, listeners, and friends, that I want you to understand. The optics showed Black people rioting and causing chaos in the streets, and they're taking over our communities and our streets. And Irving, I shut them down, and I'm holding them accountable, and it will never happen again because I smashed them. Okay, wait a minute. So you smashed Black people. There was no white people out there. You smashed Black people because they're criminals and they're burning up the city, and you stopped it. And so you're the hero. So I don't like the optics of that, because now you're going coming after one racial group, one economic class of people, and now you're saying that you are now the candidate to handle all of that. What are you doing for that class of people? Are you helping them get affordable housing? Are you helping them get jobs? If they're looting, there's a cause. That's the root. There's a cause for that. Irving, did you say I'll get jobs for the unemployed? Irving, did you say I'll get jobs for the underpaid? And Irving, did you say that you'll draw the equity between underpaid Black workers and white workers? None of that. So here's my big X for you. Irving. So to me, his candidacy, number one, was predicated on a lie. Number two, like you always state, is predicated on being controlled by money magnets, such as businessmen and other politicians. So those two right there, to me, strike him down as a candidate that could possibly give a good image for the Black community. I don't see him doing anything for the Black community because he hasn't said it out of his mouth yet. He hasn't said anything about housing, healthcare, education, and economics, getting us jobs.
Now I'm gonna show you this and to show you that you are on target and on point in this video. Now let me share this with you. Get it, this so our people that's at home, and you can read this off, and then we'll go into and continuing to contest the number two, Mr. Richard Irving, about what he was saying, just the pinpoint of what you were talking about. Now let's look at these statistics, ladies and gentlemen. Let's look at these statistics. Now, go into those statistics, Minister B, and see what did that say right there.
Okay, according to the most recent ACS, the racial composition of Aurora is 59% white, other race 17%, Black or African Americans 10%, Asian 8%, two or more races less whatever that means. It's 3%. Native Americans 0%, and Native Hawaiian 0.12%. I mean,
So
you can see that.
yeah, so based on what he's putting his candidate about keeping the streets safe, 10% as opposed to the 59%. That's very low as far as blacks being out there, and as far as us being in that community causing issues. And the thing will be, what will be the purpose to go to Aurora to, as far as doing these rioting? And then we got to look and ask questions. Who started the riot? He's making his making his case off of rioting. And like I said, we'll go into it and let him speak for himself, because I can't speak for him. So let's go into detail based on what he was saying. We'll continue. Let me bring the music to a pause. Okay?
People move out because there's nothing you can do about it. But that's not true. I know it's not. I grew up in Section 8 public housing in Aurora, where I now serve as mayor. Mom had me at 16, a single mother working 2 jobs. Didn't have much of a father, but my granddad, son of Richard Baxter Irvin, taught me to believe in myself, to do the best I could at whatever I did, like he did as a skilled craftsman.
Wait a minute, Mr. P. He said he didn't have much of a father, but then he goes to his grandfather. I'm confused into reference to that, but in any case, we'll continue.
In factories after World War II. I enlisted in the Army, like him, served in Desert Storm, developed the discipline it takes to complete a mission. So I went to college on the GI Bill, then law school, to become a hands-on prosecutor, going on police raids, taking back one corner or apartment complex at a time, putting gangbangers, drug dealers.
Shall we repeat that part?
See, look, over 1,000 victims. I would like to look at the demographics for that, because I'm sure all of them were blacks. But my thing is, listen, he is getting a campaign based on, we've seen this before. It's based on fear. It's based on fear. You don't want this inside of your community. You don't want these type of people here. I can eradicate them. I can get rid of them. And who are you talking about?
Who are you getting rid of?
Well, you know who he's getting rid of, Dr. K? It's the black criminals that are plaguing our country.
So here's a question to you, Minister P. Now, and you can answer this. Let's just say you're Richard Irving. Mr. Richard Irving, who, as I look at the demographics, it's only 10% of blacks that live in Aurora. Who is that 10%? Is all 10% of those blacks gangbangers?
Yes. See?
Wow.
See? And that's what he's putting his campaign energy behind, eradicating those 10%. And then we'll have a whole good-looking community now, because they're the ones who start the riots. They're the ones who's bringing out us economically. They're the ones who's living in areas where it doesn't even look right. Well, how about putting funds in that area so it can look right? How about educating them so they can get jobs? How about that? None of that is in his head, though, Dr. K.
No, and we'll continue to let him speak for himself.
And white leaders in prison. I've seen it up close. Defund the police is dumb, dangerous, and it costs lives. And I believe that all lives matter. Every family should be safe. Running our second largest city, crimes come down because the police budget has gone up. I hired more cops each year. We've recruited new companies, turned old properties into economic engines, and we've controlled spending, balanced budgets, so residents...
I'm confused. So you hired more cops each year, and the crime is down. So what do you need all these cops for now?
Oh, good point, Dr. K.
Help me understand.
I didn't, man. Yes, I didn't even think about. Yes, absolutely.
I mean, you hired, look, did he not say he hired all these cops and the crime is down? Quote him, I'm quoting him.
Oh my
Down,
goodness.
but police
Okay, I have to write
defunding the
I have
police
to
is
write that
dumb.
point down.
Defunding the police is dumb. As far as I look at the police, they got enough equipment to me. They got enough people on staff to me. The crime is low in Aurora. Now he's talking about Aurora now, but he's running for governor. He said, well, it's crime
Because he
all
said it.
over. Yeah.
But he said it. Yeah, the crime rate is down in Aurora.
He did say that.
Dr. K, can I make this analogy? Listen, we all know that we're going into the NBA basketball All-Star game Saturday and Sunday.
Yeah, just real quick.
It's like
NBA, give us out. We just put you out there, NBA, on our platform. So can we get a check? We just need 10,000.
Come on. That's it. But listen, so it's like a team. Okay, there's five starters. Now, using Irving's analogy, you got a team. You put 10 starters out there on the floor. They should always beat the ones that have 5, right? Because you have gotten got your team built up, and you that team should always win. So the same thing with this. If you hire cops every year, and then you have so many cops now, of course the crime rate is going to go down. So what do you need all the cops for now?
Right. So what do all these cops want to just sit around and make sure? Oh, we got a barricade up. Well, I didn't make it. I'm just throwing an analogy out there. Oh, I didn't make it to be governor, but we got a barricade up and we got all these police blocking, so you can't come into Aurora. Okay, I won't come. I won't move to Aurora. I don't have to. I don't live there no way. So, but you're making a stance for governor, meaning that what you're looking to do around the state. And who are the gangbangers? Who is that? We know in our community they exist. For the most part, they used to exist for a purpose. Now, getting back on track, that's a whole nother topic. But as you see right here in
there's white gangs out there as well. There's
of
Asian
course,
gangs
but
well.
You know, those are keywords for black. That's keywords for black. That's why I say it's up to black folks to start paying and opening their minds up to keywords and really listening, because they're pinpointing when they start using these analogies in their campaign. And then you go sit your behind down and watch the news and hear that same term, start connecting the dots, and then you'll know who they're talking about. And he should have put in, you see why he said Richard Irving for governor? He should have put Dream Team there, because that's what he built, his cops. He built the Dream Team. And NBA basketball, didn't they have a Dream Team? That's so surely a Dream Team can beat anybody.
That's the analogy.
That's the analogy. All right, go ahead, Miss.
And they want him. They want him above all the other Republican candidates. Because how do you know that? Because they are putting cash money behind him. A $20 million donation. On top of that, already 12 million donation by businesses and politicians. They want him for a reason. They want him for, well, I say for 2 reasons. Number one, you said it earlier, for the black face. But listen, we're not fooled by that anymore. We don't even want a black face. What we want is a black steak.
Yep.
We want the black part. Okay, so it doesn't even have to be a black face anymore, but we want a black steak. And so they're using him for the black face, and then of course they're using him for their agenda, the $32 million agenda is what I call it. Because you got 12 million by Republican businessmen, and now a $20 million donation by Ken Griffin. What?
It's just remarkable. It's unbelievable. But I mean, you know, paying attention to detail is what will get us through this thing. Well, we'll let this contestant, since they're looking to push all the money behind him. But again, just to remember, listen, ladies and gentlemen, his arms have to be long enough. He can't be like this kangaroo arms. So they're gonna have to, because you know, Pritzker got long arms. Pritzker has long arms. That's reference to money. That's how he won the last campaign. Now, because he started out, if you think back, Pritzker started out as a Republican running. And when it got down and boiled down to, it said, well, no, you got to flip because you're running against Bruce Rauner, who is already a Republican. So he switched teams, making you think that, say, he's a Democrat. Oh, Democrat. That's what you focus on. It's like Crips and Bloods. Which gang I'm going to be in is who got the most money. Not who's going to do something to benefit me and my family. But let's continue.
It's got property tax relief. My city is now safer, stronger, and full of opportunity. I want that for Illinois. Madigan and his ilk, Governor Pritzker, they've done so much damage. But I promise you, we can overcome big challenges. It's what I'm good at. But we must dare to dream of an Illinois that is free, prosperous, and proud enough to truly be the land of Lincoln again. I'm Richard Irvin. I'm running for governor of Illinois. And with your help, we will take our state back.
Thank you, contestant number 2. So, there's the other contestant. There's a new contestant that we bring aboard. Is the contestant of Jesse Sullivan. Let's see what he has to say real quickly.
The America I love is a shining city on a hill. And for me, Illinois, it's always shined the brightest. But we are failing to live up to that vision. By almost every single measure, our failed political class is driving our state into the ground. Illinois is now known for 3 things: high taxes, corruption, and crime. You know, we're in debt up to our ears. If you have to pay some of the highest taxes in the entire country, you should at least expect the benefits of a well-run government. But that's not what's happening. We have self-serving politicians, and they team up with special interests to make Illinois now synonymous with corruption. So rather than support our police, it's defund our police, causing this rise in violent crime that scares people away from our cities. It's no wonder why businesses and families are fleeing in droves to better run states. Growing up in central Illinois, I learned these core values of faith, family, and service, and the strength that really comes from living those values. From Porta High School to Oxford and Stanford, education and sports open these new doors that challenge me to be better. So my faith that I learned here, it led me to serve with charities over in Haiti and to serve my country in Afghanistan, doing counterinsurgency with the Department of Defense. I started my business to invest in entrepreneurs because I realized that the best way for families to actually rise up out of poverty was not about giving handouts, but by actually creating jobs. Lots and lots of jobs. I'm inspired by folks all across Illinois, hardworking, generous, resilient. I love my home state. The land of Lincoln, the land of faith and family and service. It's where I want to raise my kids and my grandkids. Illinois, our beautiful home. It's worth fighting for. And this fight is about those weak politicians
versus we, the people. This fight is about insiders who talk a good game versus us, outsiders, who actually want to solve problems and deliver results for our neighbors in need. This fight, it will not stop, I promise you, until this era in Illinois of high taxes, crime, corruption comes to an end. So today, amongst all of you, I have an announcement. My name is Jesse Sullivan, and I'm running to be the next governor of Illinois. Yes. Together,
Not that I want to point that out, Minister P, and I know this is, to me, it's just it seems like a movie script almost. And you look around in the crowd, and I didn't see any of us standing in the crowd looking for his announcement. But I guess I'm a part of the crime that he's talking about. That 10% in Aurora, that gangbanger. You know, Now he lives in a small rural town, and he didn't grow up in this city. And every time I look downtown, because I live close to that downtown, I see a new skyscraper going up. So who is this that's fleeing Illinois? That's my question. Who's man? Then as far as business wise, if I had to bring up the statistical numbers as far as black businesses, yeah, we've maneuvered and started to do more, but we barely have chipped the tip of the iceberg. Barely. We haven't even scratched the surface. So, and he talking about all this crime and here you see they got the same ploy about the police. Defunding the police, defunding the police, defunding the police. It's always talking about, they always bringing that up. But we just had a case. Then we just not had a ruling on a case where this if you listen to this Asian woman, this what they call quote unquote person of color, which is questionable at hand, is that jumping off topic just for a second, and I want to get into that on the last aspect of our show, about 2 minutes of it, and just to play how she was really you would have thought that she was this former police officer. You would have thought she was her lawyer, the way she was speaking for her when she was sentencing her. So go ahead, Ms. B, continue on. If you want me to go back to sharing these candidates, my thing is, which candidate, ladies and gentlemen, are we looking to have court us?
Absolutely. So here it is with Jesse Sullivan. We already found out that his campaign is based on a lie. And here's the lie. There's another commercial that he has where he said he's standing in front of a poster behind him, and it's with Afghanistan. So he said, I served in Afghanistan. Okay. And now our image goes like this. Oh, wow, he was a soldier in Afghanistan. Okay. Then he says, and because of that training I got from Afghanistan, I take it now to the city. Hold up. Here's the lie number one.
This it right here, right?
Well, it was a different one. It was just him. But this will serve that will serve just as well, because he said, I served in Afghanistan. Now, when he says that, Dr. K, to you, that means, and others, that means that, okay, this man laid down his life. He was out there, fighting for the country, shooting, boom, 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 boom. Listen, this man served on, here it is, brothers and sisters, viewers and friends. He was on a committee in Afghanistan that was doing some research. On a committee. He wasn't a soldier. He was not a veteran. He's not a veteran. He served on a committee. And so he used that and used that to draw an image in people's minds. Oh, he's a fighter. He's a soldier. That's a lie. He's not even a veteran. That's number one. The other thing is, Dr. K, just what you brought up. Look at the optics. Where were the Black representation? Where's people that look like you and me in there? Because don't we live in America? The last time I checked, man, we live
He's
in
right
America,
there.
right?
He's right there in Afghanistan. The black guy.
Yeah.
See, right?
Yeah,
He's standing right there. That's where he's at.
Yeah, in Afghanistan. But over here, where we live at,
right.
And so in those commercials, understand this, people. Understand this now. He had no representation, and that was by design, because he's reaching out to a crowd of people, a group of people that's saying, we want a pure society. We want a society that looks good. And so we don't want any speck or wrinkle in this society. And so he's drawing on fear. Well, I can make this happen. See, fear will get you an election.
Yeah.
Fear will get you elected if you play that card right. And so many politicians are doing that now because of the last president, who he came into office on fear. That was his slogan, his campaign is fear. So for those two reasons, in this political dating game, contestant number 2, Jesse Sullivan, because you lied, number one, you're a liar. You're not a veteran. And number two, you don't have any representation of us at all. So what makes you think you're going to do something for us? Oh, and here's the other thing. And so who is he, the Tom Brady of the politicians?
Yeah. He's right. He's the Tom Brady of politicians. So that's contestant. Will it be contestant number one, Gary Rabin, contestant number two, Richard Irving, contestant number three, Jerry Pritzker, or contestant number four, our new contestant is a surprise guest as our bright and shining star football player replacing Tom Brady, Jesse Sullivan. I mean, this can't be more of a movie script. This is it's just ridiculous, especially when you sit down and look at this. You know, most of our people they're so into emotionalism. They're so into being part of this aspect of, hey, ooh, that was heartfelt, that was emotional, that was here's our people. We've been invited to be an aspect of loving drama. We love drama. This is a drama scene. So being in this drama scene, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, we have to really check ourselves at the door, in the mirror, and be precise on what are we looking at? What are we paying attention to? Is this something that's going to benefit me based on a commercial running? I mean, for all intents and purposes, that Jesse Sullivan, on a personal side, he's a mixture between a Tom Brady and the pro wrestler John Cena. That's what he looks like to me.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what he looks like to me. He looks like to me between the two. Just between those two. But it's just mind-boggling that you're looking at some of these antics that they spend quite a bit of money on. You got to understand, to run for governor or to run for any local office, mainly when you start moving up the ladder, it costs money. And who's putting money? You see, we just saw right on every last one of those pages, they based on their speeches and what they stand for. They're asking people to donate. Now here in Ministry, we ask for donations all the time. We've gotten a few. But to pinpoint things like this. Now, I heard on one particular thing, I heard this one, and then we're going to go on to the next aspect of what we're trying to look at. I was watching this one documentary, and I just keyed in on a keyword this gentleman said. He said he was supposed to have forecast the future. And he said the time of that the pandemic has happened, this era, we'll say 2020, we'll say going back to about 2020, 2015. He said up until the time span up until now, he said this era is the most idiotic, stupid era. That's how the future, in the future, they predict this era. They're saying they had the most idiots.
Wow.
Now, this is just a forecast based on, not saying that that's true, but we do have some bright people out there, and I know our people are bright. But if we keep making mistakes like this, I'm going to have to start questioning our brightness and where our mindset lies. Because you just going out here and making some blind, any, meeny, miny, mo selection based on because you just see somebody, a sound bite, somebody sounding good or giving them money. And here we are trying to educate and get a better understanding of what we're trying to do. Again, this show is not for popularity purposes. This show is about educating and having an understanding of where we need to be as a community. Not about how many likes I can get. If you don't like me today or tomorrow, now I don't give a damn. But what I'm saying, and as this ignorant sister had once said, and I hate to pinpoint this sister for saying this, but I had to pinpoint her because I had to check into her mindset. She asked me a question based on some stuff, and she told me that I was talking hatred. I said, so where in our conversation I had with her, the word hate never even came out of my mouth. She asked me a question based on a political topic. And I gave her a straightforward answer and then quoted some things that somebody had said based on what she was asking, a political individual. And she said I was spewing hatred. So I got to challenge our people to say, sometimes I believe in this pandemic, this something has done something to our mind. And that's why we did a show before on mental health, checking our mental health status, because the temperature, we need to check your mental health. That's what needs to be checked out here, because our people seem to have lost whatever that they got left of mind, if there was anything there. So, but yeah, I wanted to get real quick into the decision that was made based on this judge who, here again, right in the same state that our brother George Floyd was killed. This is really a shame, and this really is a messed up situation that we have to look at such things as such. And here on this, I believe she was Asian. Correct me if I'm wrong. What is that judge's name, real quick? I was trying to recall her name. Usually right on point in the morning. They can jump to that. In our aspect of trying to get these political dating out the courtship of selection. Who's going to be our next governor? Bear with me, ladies and gentlemen. Working on that now. I think here, I believe this is it here. Guilty verdict in trial of this police officer. It was Kim. I believe her name was Kim Porter.
Kim Potter.
Right, Kim Potter.
Kim
right?
Potter, yeah.
Kim Potter. And then the judge who did the ruling. But I wanted to bring up the soundbite in that as reference to just again, here we are as educational purposes of how the judge really she looked at her as if that was her sister, more or less babying her judgment, and it'll be okay. Well, I'm only going, and she of course spewing these fake tears. Here we go. I'm gonna go ahead and share this, and we get an understanding. And everybody saw this, but then we have to be careful of this. As they talking about this Asian hate thing, and here's an Asian placating toward this lady who knew and had training now. But here's these governors talking about defunding the police, but here this lady who's supposed to have extensive training now. Extensive training. Talking some taser. Now look at my hand. I got a bazooka. How am I differentiate from a bazooka and a taser? That don't even make sense. Actually, and their excuse is, when you listen to the news media, is that all the commotion they had already arrested this guy first. If you look at the full video, and somehow they take him out of cuffs and he tries to run away. It's a lot of confusion going on in that when you really look at the full video and say, well, he tried to drive off. Man, if you got 4 or 5 police officers and this one lady, well, taser, and you got one guy tussling with him, like. I'm not gonna pull out anything. If anything, I'm gonna try to get a hold of this guy and get his arms and his legs. If anything, refrain from if he does have a weapon, not pull out a taser, because maneuver wrong and somebody bumps me the wrong way, I might hit my partner. See how goofy and stupid these people are? This is crazy. Now listen to this sick judge. This is a sick person
Well,
here.
hold up, Dr. K. Before we get into that, here's the other thing with that. Listen, your revolver is on your right hand side, your dominant hand. Your taser is always opposite on the left side. So if you're right-handed, your revolver's on the right hand, you pull it.
Yep.
If you're right-handed, your taser is on the left side. So you know good and well your left hand didn't come up, your right hand came up. So there's no way you can say that's an accident.
You're right on target. You're right. She been, from what I'm understanding, it looks like what I'm reading. She was on a force. She wasn't new. We'll say that. Even if you are new, you still you know. So let's listen to this this real quick before we lose time.
First degree, find the defendant guilty.
Kim Potter stood silently as the jury found her guilty of first and second degree manslaughter in the fatal shooting of 20-year-old Dante Wright. Potter was immediately taken into custody.
Accountability is not just.
I was trying to get the sound bite of the judge herself.
Regina Chu.
Regina Chu. Okay. Let me real quick before we run out of time, because I mean it's mind-boggling when you listen to how the judge was. I mean, really like Regina.
Well, I can read what the judge said.
Go ahead, Ms. Speaker. Yeah.
She says this. Now, in her compassion for Kim Potter, the judge, Regina Chu, says this. Of all the jobs in public service, police officers have the most difficult one. They must make snap decisions under tense, evolving, and ever-changing circumstances. They risk their lives every single day in public service. Officer Potter made a mistake that ended tragically, but she never intended to hurt anyone. Her conduct cries out for a sentence significantly below the guidelines, quote, unquote.
Now, look at the facial expression, ladies and gentlemen, for the ones that have viewed. Minister P has read, quote unquote, the statement of Judge Regina Chu, but now listen to how she sounds really quickly for the time span where I kind of fast forward through some of it, but this, and she begins to like.
On my 20 years on the bench. On the one hand, a young man was killed, and on the other, a respected 26-year veteran police officer made a tragic error by pulling her handgun instead of her taser. Thank you to everyone who spoke. I have been profoundly moved by the comments of the Wright family. Dante was very loved. His son has lost a father. And Mr. and Mrs. Wright, I cannot begin to understand the grief of losing a child. I'm so sorry for your loss. Kimberly Potter honorably served her community for 26 years.
Now, just real quick, I'm so sorry for your loss. Okay, let's move on. Now, Kimberly Potter, now she's getting ready to, it's like she's giving her this honorary, well, we have to send you off for a minute, but I'm going to be light on you. Although the family, I've already told them we can't be sorry enough. That's all we have to offer.
As a police officer, she was a respected officer and consistently went over and above the call of duty. She's a wife, a mother, an aunt, a granddaughter, a colleague, and a friend to many. In addition to the letters that were forwarded to me by Mr. Ng, I received hundreds and hundreds of letters in her support from colleagues, family, friends, acquaintances, community leaders and members, and even strangers. I read them all. They paint a portrait of a woman who touched a lot of people in a good way. I want to talk briefly about the aggravating factors that were brought up in this case. As I mentioned before, the state initially took the position Ms. Potter should receive a sentence above the guidelines and filed a brief in support of 2 aggravating factors under Blakely. All parties agreed that I would determine whether aggravating factors existed to justify a harsher sentence than that set forth in the guidelines. I feel compelled to address the grounds for that request because they were made public, and I think it is important to note they were not proven in this case. The state did not meet its burden of proof on the first factor. It is based on defendant causing a greater than normal danger to the passenger in the car and 2 other officers when she fired. But the shot...
Right there, Ms. B. I'm not going to go into more detail, but
Thank you,
you
man.
see how
It's upsetting.
it is. And so you can see, oh no, I'm going to make a decision on this. The state has no burden of proof that she should receive a harsher sentence. And then she, of course, in her mind, if I see a gun in my hand, which is black, Glock, probably 22 or 23, looking at this, and I don't know it's a gun, and I've been on the force for 26 years, that means you should have never been a police officer. That goes for anyone who goes out here and saying, well, I fear for my life. Don't do the job. See, I'm talking about how idiotic, so that connects the dot back to the idiot, as versus to everybody getting on TV and, oh, we need more police. And I fear for my life. If you're fearing for your life in that job, don't do it. Did nobody come knocking on your door and tell you to be a police officer, cop, whatever? You went down and applied to say, well, I want to do this job. So now you carry the burden if you go out there and do something crazy. But this is where we are in our society. Again, we're looking at a idiotic, it's starting to get more and more idiotic as I see day by day, especially when you got to look at foolishness like that. You know, that tends to take you in another space. Now, they had already had a situation there in Minnesota. So to keep the calm, you know, oh, we don't want no more rioting, so we're going to give her a year. But same judge, it's the same person the foolish black folks go out and vote for. Just go and, ooh, that sounds good. Don't even research these people. And they go and do something like what we're seeing right now. If she chose the job and she was under no threat, and the judge told you it's reference to burden of proof. Burden of proof was one, you had 2 other people in the car that you would pose greater harm to if you wildly went in there shooting, because you could have killed the child and the mother.
Right.
And you could have possibly.
Why that wasn't proved, because that was proved. So
yeah.
But Dr. K, listen, man. Here's the thing. In the facts that we just heard, when she drew the analogy between the two, the Wright family, I'm sorry for your son's loss, the loss of your son. I'm sorry, I can't even understand how that feels. Now, Kim Potter was loved by everyone. She's a grandmother, she's a sister, she's an aunt, she's a veteran. Leaders have, even strangers wrote in notes. Leaders, yeah. Community leaders and politicians. Okay, wait a minute, what about the son? He was a uncle to someone. He was a friend to someone. He was a father of a child to someone. He was a boyfriend to someone. He did good in school. He had academics. He was a position that he could aspire to become great in the community. What happened to those accolades? They were purposely denied those accolades and dehumanized him as an object and a criminal, while her a pillar of society. Everyone loves her.
Yeah, everybody loves her. Goes back to
Everybody loves Kim.
Let's go back right to the all these candidates, and he'll say it at some point. J.B. Pritzker, he just trying to bide his time, but it'll come out. He was part of those gang bangers. Now, ladies and gentlemen, that's definitely been our time, and we employ them to help donate so we can continue to be able to prosper and bring forth an eye-opening news, not the foolishness that they put on 2, 5, 7, and 9, and Fox, and CNN, and so on and so on. So we need real media, people. So it'd be nice that you donate a few dollars. It will be helpful. Because when we do reach that plateau where we can put out good media for our people, it'd be hard pressed with me to accept you as giving you a job. I have the funds to pay you. And you're looking to come and work for the station, for this platform, more or less. But I definitely implore you to donate to Cash App, KTSE Media, to help us forward this mission that we are on and will continue to stay on, whether we here or not here. I will make my point to do so. Please continue to view the viewership, like, share, and whatever puts on your mind to do, and donate if that puts on your mind to do so. This is your host, Dr. K. Let's Look at This, that airs on every Saturday at 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. or thereafter, as we have went over. And on Sunday, to get that spiritual enlightenment that, as you see, as so many people need. And usually, as I said before, Mr. P, that Judge Shirley needs a fat lip for sinking ships with her statement. So you tune into Love at Work Ministries on Sunday mornings at 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. with our gracious presenter of that broadcast, Minister P. And continue to listen out for our sister Jay Reese on Fresh Air that airs on Thursdays evenings at 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. He has been on a research project for some time. You'll see her back shortly. But definitely continue to tune into our platforms on this station. KTSE-TV, which we are viewing on YouTube, and WKTSE Radio, which is our radio, which is the radio station that we are on. And definitely to keep your eyes open and pay attention to detail, people. Amongst our ethical codes that we need to stand by. Pay attention, start paying attention to detail, get an understanding of where we are going into the future. Because you've seen our political candidates and you've seen what they were about and statements that they have made, and you have a better understanding to where you should either stay at home and come up with a better plan, or foolishly go to the polls and get a sticker and get nothing in return. So, you know, as the old host on that show, Minister P, would go, how did they go at the end when they ended the dating game? Because we don't know who's going to be courting us, so I can't give you a definite. To give you what did they do, Minister P, on the show?
I want to say goodbye to all of our listeners, brothers and sisters. Hey, listen, the candidate that we want to vote for is one that has housing, healthcare, education, and economy for the Black community. Until next week.
Until next week, we're going to be bringing the same energy. We're not backing down from this energy. Yeah, we're not about entertainment, even though this seems to be entertaining for some. That's perfect to this political dating game. So if you like entertainment and want to be entertained, they'll do it for you. They'll do it for you. And hopefully you get something in return besides a smile. That's been our time.
All right, peace out.
Peace.